All right, Carolina Panthers looking for a new quarterback 1 year after they signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 3-year contract. And they're going to take a $10 million cap charge if they move on from Teddy Bridgewater, but it seems like they're ready to do it. So the big question for the Panthers, who will be the quarterback in 2021? Charean, let's do it draft style. I'll give you the first pick because I'm in a semi-good mood. Who is your selection right out of the gates to be the starting quarterback for the Panthers week 1?
Well, I'm going to leave the big name to you, Mike, because I don't think they're going to get a big name to come in. And if you don't get somebody better than Teddy Bridgewater, right, you have to keep Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm going to say they are going to fail in their attempts to get a better quarterback. So they're going to stick with Teddy Bridgewater and look to redo this position in 2022.
That's very pragmatic and realistic, but it's no fun. It's very kind of you. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater eventually would have made the list. But how can I not go with Deshaun Watson? They're loading up the cannon for the run at Deshaun Watson. ESPN told us that last week. 3 first-round picks and Christian McCaffrey. Make it happen. So, yeah, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to want to go there, even though he played at Clemson, so that's kind of my drawback. My next pick, Mike, I am going to have fun with this. I'm going to say they're going to go with Dak Prescott. Russell Wilson gets traded to Dallas.
I knew it.
Dak Prescott becomes a free agent, and he goes to Carolina. How about that?
I knew it. My 2 choices for you for your next pick were Dak Prescott first, then Roger Staubach. I knew it. So that's good. That's good. And I like that. I like that because if they do the trade to Dallas of Russell Wilson, right, it's not like the Cowboys are going to sign Dak Prescott to a $37.68 million franchise tender and then trade him. He's walking away and they're getting compensatory draft pick next year. So, that would be perfect. That would be – see, this is where the Panthers now have to press pause on their effort to go after Deshaun Watson and say, wait a minute. There's a chance that Dak Prescott's going to walk right through the door for us if the Cowboys bite on this Russell Wilson hook. All right, next one for me, Trevor Lawrence. If you fail to get Deshaun Watson, if Dak Prescott isn't available, you make the Jaguars an offer they can't refuse. They drop down to number 8. You move up to number 1. You make the argument, hey, look, if the Bengals had done the deal with the Dolphins last year, they could have had Justin Herbert and all this other stuff. So why don't you do it, Urban Meyer? And, of course, Meyer's responsible. Why don't you just keep all those picks and do it yourself? But I think David Tepper, determined to get a franchise quarterback and get a Clemson guy. If you can't get the Clemson guy who's proven he can get it done, go after the Clemson guy who's entering the draft.
And I'll stick with that same theme, Mike, that they do draft their quarterback this year. And how about a trade up for Trey Lance? And I do think they probably would have to trade up a little bit to get him. Quarterbacks always go earlier than we think they're going to go, right? There's going to be a run on quarterbacks and teams are going to panic and they're going to move up and say, if we want the guy, we're going to have to get the guy. So they may still have to trade up a little bit to get Trey Lance. But I think Trey Lance is a real possibility for this team to draft.
I think a trade up to get Zach Wilson is a possibility. That'll be my last pick because, again, it's either Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, or we can throw in Dak Prescott if the dominoes fall that way. There isn't a clear upgrade franchise-level guy in the NFL right now beyond those 3. They're not going to go after Kirk Cousins, I don't think. So move up to get Zach Wilson. And am I misremembering this? Didn't Teddy Bridgewater sign with the Jets and then get traded to the Saints? Didn't he do that?
That's right.
Yeah. So send Teddy Bridgewater back to the Jets so they can trade him to the Saints again or wherever else they want to trade him. All right. I think we've done as much damage as we can with our completely made-up guesswork at who the Panthers quarterback will be. Let's move on to one in and one out. Give me a name of someone that the Panthers will be adding other than obviously a quarterback.
Well, I don't have a Williams on this. I'm going to go with John Feliciano. They only have one player on their offensive line among their starting offensive line who is signed. I do think they put the franchise tag on Taylor Moton at right tackle, so they'll have him too. But they need to upgrade at the guard position. John Miller and Chris Reed, their starting guards from last year, are free agents. I'm going to go John Feliciano of the Bills. If the Bills can't re-sign him, I think Carolina is a good landing spot for him.
All right, see, I had put in the sheet when I prepared for the show a franchise quarterback, so I kind of put myself into a box since we did that draft. It's my own fault for not being smarter about, the flow of the segment. How about Jonnu Smith, the tight end from the Tennessee Titans? Just throw a dart
Good
there.
pick.
Curtis Samuel likely to walk away in free agency. They really haven't had a potent tight end since Greg Olson. So since I've painted myself into a corner, I'll try to escape it by desperately throwing out the name Jonnu Smith. Who's out for the Carolina Panthers, Charean?
I think Russell Okung, and I talked about only having that one player under contract. Well, Russell Okung is a free agent. He's 32, injury history. We know that. They re-signed Trent Scott, who actually started 3 games at left tackle last year while Russell was out with his injury. So I just think it's time for them to move on. They are ready to move on. They'll find an in-house candidate for the left tackle spot, Mike.
And the easy one is Teddy Bridgewater out, if that is the way that it goes. It seems like they're ready to move on. And I think you get to a point where he's going to want to move on. That they could end up with some other mid-level guy if they completely alienate Teddy Bridgewater to the point where he wants out. So it's possible that he's not even going to be available to them if he's like, I'm not going to continue to be your quarterback when you're clearly looking for someone else. Curtis Samuel, one of their top receivers, is another possibility to leave. He's a free agent, and you just have to ask, how much money do you invest in that position? They've got Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore is going to need to get paid at some point. Samuel may be a luxury that they just can't afford. Not many teams go 3 deep with receivers who are making a nice chunk of change. Look, they got a lot to do, and they got high ambitions. David Tepper wants to work the game in his favor, and he has proven, at least in the business world, he knows how to crack the code. He is trying desperately to crack the NFL code, Charean.
Yes, he is, Mike, and they want that quarterback to do it, right? Sell out the stadium. Trevor Lawrence does make perfect sense. I just don't know if the Jaguars are going to be willing to trade up there. Trade out of
going
that
back to that
spot
clip.
with the Carolina Panthers.
In All or Nothing, Tepper's in the back of the SUV. Yeah. The NFL set up to be 8-8, and the way that you push it your way, great coach, great GM, great quarterback. Great quarterback is this year's objective.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.